I'm doing my close reading analysis over The Lies of Locke Lamora, which is a book that talks about the adventures of Locke Lamora, who was a thief in a group in the city of Camor. But before I talk about my analysis, I wanted to do my activity with everyone. So, for a second, I want everyone to think, if you were going to be a thief in a fantasy gang like Locke Lamora was, what would you want your specialist to be? And there's four choices. There's the intellectual, who is the mastermind behind all of the thefts. There's the enforcer, who is the one who, is the muscle of the group and beats people up. There's the sleight of hand, who is the most sneaky and the best thief of them all. And then there is the jack of many trades and the master of none, who is good at everything but great at nothing. So now that we're done with the activity, I want to talk about my analysis of the book, The Lies of Locke Lamora, and my main takeaways from it. So, like I talked about before, Locke Lamora is part of a gang called the Gentleman's Bastards, who run throughout the city of Camor and just steal. There's murder. So the city of Camor is a very harsh place, and murder and theft are actually normal there, and are really ignored because there is something called the secret peace, which essentially protects the nobility, the higher up, the equivalent of their government. It protects them, and they choose to ignore crime in the city as long as it does not affect them. And this is part of this is in parallel with my thesis, which is that The Lies of Locke Lamora is a reflection of today's society, where a person's life has monetary value that determines their importance and their privileges. And the city of Camor is really not that different from the world we live in today, in the fact that the nobility, which is the equivalent to the rich, the powerful, the high-ups in the government, are protected at all costs, whereas the regular citizens are not. And also how they ignore human trafficking, which goes on, in real life, and it also goes on in the city of Camor. And the book actually talks about, in several places, how humans are regularly sold at markets, and ships come and gather around to take their pick. And I believe the author wrote this book the way he did, with the rules protecting the higher ups and the basically in value of those in poverty, to reflect how he and many people feel that the world is today, where if you are in a position of power or money, then you don't have to play by the same rules as everybody else, and you are offered protection that other people are not. And though that they could stop things like human trafficking and drug rings and murder, they choose not to, because it doesn't matter to them, because it does not affect them.